Unit 2 review, cell structures. Main objectives of the unit: you should be able to identify the levels of organization. You should know the structure and functions of different parts of the cell. You should be able to compare and contrast different types of cells, especially plants and animals. Conduct experiments exploring diffusion and osmosis, and also analyze the ways that the cell membrane performs its function. Okay? So levels of organization, as you may remember, are organelles, then cells, tissues, organs, organ body systems, and organisms. Obviously in that picture, I've also added atom and molecule, which you'll talk more about next year in chemistry. So focus just from organelle to organism. Organelle, remember, is a small part inside of the cell. Main organelles that you should know for your region. So you should know the nucleus is the control center. Also, you should know that it holds the DNA or the genetic information. You should know cell membrane, which is around the outside of the animal cell and the second layer of the plant cell, allows materials to pass in and out of the cell. You should know cytoplasm, the fluid inside that kind of gives the shape and allows things to move around. Mitochondria, you should know, is the energy powerhouse, but it's also the location for cellular respiration, how we get that ATP. And ribosome is for protein synthesis. Vacuole is for storage. Two organelles are only in plant cells that you should know about. That's the chloroplast, which is the location for photosynthesis, as well as the cell wall, which is the rigid kind of firm structure that gives a plant its shape. Cell transport. So cell transport is necessary in order for materials to get in and out of the cell so that that cell can stay alive or the organism can stay alive and maintain homeostasis. Remember, homeostasis is just that balance in the body, that internal balance that keeps you alive. Cell transport occurs across the cell membrane. There's 3 different types of cell transport that you should be aware of. Diffusion is the first one. That's the movement of water, of molecules from high to low. And that could be water, sugar, amino acids. It could be really any molecules that are small enough to fit. Osmosis is the movement of just water from high to low. So it's kind of diffusion with water. And then active transport is movement of molecules from low to high. The other thing I want to mention is that active transport requires energy. It requires extra ATP. So molecules have to be kind of pushed into a smaller space. Diffusion through a membrane was one of the labs that we did in class. This is a mandated lab, so we're just going to go over it because there were some complex ideas there that you will see on your Regents exam in the Part D section. So the first part I want to mention is that molecules can only pass through the membrane if they're very small. So glucose is a great example of this. Water is also another example of something small. Large molecules can't pass through on their own. Starch is an example of a really big molecule. It would need to be digested or broken down first. There were 2 indicators that we really used. Starch indicator, also called iodine, is that kind of brown color or almost an amber or an orange, and it changed to black or a bluish purple with starch. Glucose indicator, also called Benedict's, turned from kind of a really pretty blue color to an orangish red with glucose and also when we heated it up. So you can see on the right-hand side, that picture is demonstrating 2 tests, one of them with the starch and one of them for the glucose. So you can see the difference in color. Also, the second part of that lab was when we took an onion cell and we added both water and salt water to it. Remember that when salt water is added to a cell, the water content inside is actually higher than outside, so the water ends up leaving the cell and it shrinks or dehydrates, so the cell gets smaller on the inside. When water is added to the cell, the water content outside the cell is higher than inside, so the water enters the cell as it bloats up or gets bigger. So don't forget to write your 2 check for understanding questions and the answers to just show that you were paying attention. All right.